In the past year, the e-commerce industry has grown tremendously, from 14% in 2019 to about 17% in 2020. And it's predicted that the e-commerce industry will continue to grow in the coming years. Speaking specifically for the Indian market, the Indian e-commerce market is projected to grow every year 21% annually. Besides this, by 2025, the market is expected to generate $100 to 120 billion in gross merchandise value, and we'll have approximately 300 to 350 million shoppers. Well, so in short, the market will continue to grow, and to make the most out of this opportunity, it's important for D2C brands to know the multiple sales and marketing strategies that they need to implement for boosting their sales. Hello and welcome everyone. This is Yashi from EasyEcom, your host and moderator for today, along with Swati Jindal. Today we bring to you an exciting session where we'll talk about various marketing strategies and trends to make the most out of your e-commerce business in these evolving times. We'll also talk about how D2C brands can measure the success for their campaigns and make the most out of them. By the end of it, you can expect to be well equipped with actionable insights to make your business ready for the upcoming festive season. For the panel today, we have among us prominent D2C brand owners, Pradeep Krishnakumar, COO and co-founder at Zouk, and Sahil Kukreja, director at Kukreja Foods. Joining them is Nikunj Kansara, COO and co-founder at First Ventures, and Punit Gupta, CEO, EasyEcom. I'll just introduce the panel to you. Pradeep is an IIT Madras and IIM Ahmedabad alumni and has over 10 years of experience under his belt. Before co-founding Zouk, he has been a part of several renowned organizations like DB Bank, Browser Stack, McKinsey, and Guild Capital. Moving forward, Sahil Kukreja is the director at the Butternut Co. Established in 2016, the Butternut Co. is a fast-growing D2C brand that offers a wide array of spreads and butters along with healthy TBC essential products. Interestingly, he's also an avid sports player and was the opening batsman for Kings 11 Punjab under 19 age category. Moving forward, Nikunj is a growth consultant for D2C brands and an e-commerce trainer. He's a leading online service enabler and has helped many omni-channel brands streamline their operations. Punit is a serial entrepreneur and a Georgia Tech alumni with over 15 years of experience under his belt and co-founded EasyEcom in 2015. EasyEcom enables e-commerce business owners to streamline their business operations. Well, if there's anything you want to add, please go ahead. Pradeep, Sahil, Nikunj.
No, I'm good.
I'm good. Thanks for the introduction. I'm glad to be part of the podcast.
Well, I believe there isn't. So I'll hand over the stage to Swati to continue with the discussion.
Sorry, I actually had some trouble at the factory, so I had to run, and I'm in the car right.
No worries, Sahil. You're still audible. Just there's a bit of a lag from your end. I think should be okay.
There's a connectivity lag at Swati's end. Just a minute. Swati, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the panelists and the attendees. We are going to begin with this panel discussion. Am I audible?
Yeah, Swati, we can hear you.
All right. So yeah, let's begin with the discussion. And audience, please feel free to ask as many questions as possible. We'll take up the questions once we are open for the question and answer round. So, we have a lot to cover. So without further ado, let's quickly jump onto the agenda. To increase the brand awareness and product promotions, brands often have to advertise their products via multiple platforms along with organic methods to gain traction. I would like to know from Pradeep and Sahil about the main channels that bring traffic to your website. Also, let's talk about the channels that bring the most conversion for your business. Pradeep, Sahil, whoever wants to take the question first.
Sure. So let me go first, maybe Sahil, and then if you can.
Yeah.
So I think a key part of channel choice, I would say, actually goes back to what brand you are and what products you're selling. So for Zouk, which is into premium bags, wallets, and accessories, and we have a differentiated product. It's a more probably Indian design and vegan product. which means that it is a visually heavy brand. Secondly, also we are into a impulse driven purchase kind of product, right? It's not like you come in most cases you don't come in saying, hey, I want to buy a premium wallet now, right? Some cases do, when your old wallet has to be replaced, though that's also a very touchy feeling for people saying, hey, how do I replace my wallet, right? So it's a more impulse driven, visually heavy brand and product. So the channels that naturally suit us is firstly, of course, Instagram. I think the fact that we're able to visually show the product, or show a video of how a user uses the product, what do they like, etc., that really helps. So Instagram is, of course, our biggest channel. Similarly, Facebook as well. The third one, though very hard to measure, has always been word of mouth for us. From the beginning, at least the advantage we have is that people are carrying their bag right in front of people, right? So others ask, where did you buy this bag? What is this brand, etc. And that has led people to come to our website and check out our products. Very hard to measure that. So if you ask me for numbers, conversion rate, funnel, etc., very, very hard to answer those, right? A marketer's nightmare, I would say. But then I think that's the biggest trigger for folks to kind of come in and purchase. So those are our three big channels, which means now we have we have these channels which we're building out, and then we do different things on each of these channels, like influencer marketing, brand partnerships, etc., to lead towards brand awareness that leads them to either our website or to our Instagram page, and then from there they come down to our website. And then kind of make a purchase.
Cool. Sahil, what's your take?
Yeah, so kind of similar. So all the new age brands, we are in gourmet food, so I'll speak specifically. We're trying to educate the consumers a lot, and I don't think so. There's a better platform than Instagram right now to do that, right? A lot of education goes as to why people should choose to buy almond butter over their normal butter or jam, etc. Right? And what goes into it. We are very ingredient specific as a company. What we speak about is putting in the real ingredients into your food. So Instagram works as our number one channel in for sales. Apart from that, again, while we're trying to do something unique, like in 2016, we were the first brand ever to come up with nut almond butter, right? So again, just the word of mouth. If someone understands the product, gets how clean it is and how healthy it is, I think so that kind of helped us also grow. The other place that I thought that helped us grow back then was Amazon. It just broke the distribution channels, right? We didn't have to go from store to store to grow a brand. And I think so they've democratized building new age brands, right? And that's why we see D2C coming up so well. And now we're trying to solve all the problems, and now someone like EasyEcom is trying to solve a problem that we face as brands first, where we say, oh, we can't deliver in one day, and then they come in to solve that problem. So we have better margins on our website, etc. So I think so these three things have been critical.
Sorry, I was
Sorry, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikunj, you work with several e-commerce brands, right? What is your take on this with respect to traffic and conversions?
So, first of all, good evening. Fantastic to be on a platform and great to share platform with Sahil, Pradeep. You guys, we've been working with EasyEcom for like probably now a while, and with of course Sahil since 2016, ever since we all started. So, over a point of time, every brand have a different perspective of how they grow on these channels. Some of these brands are more Amazon centric and marketplace centric, where they would want to divert majority of their traffic coming onto their marketplace channels because it helps them to revolutionize their distribution. Second is another channel wherein your Instagram, technically I think it's a monopoly because I don't see there's any other channel where you can promote and do your performance marketing and drive a traffic to your website eventually. So out of weighing both these channels and going category wise, I'm seen with most of the brands, over a point of time, certain brands who have been having a lower volumetric weight and a lower ASP have been more focused running the marketplace channel because that helps them to settle down the logistics cost. Wherein brands with a higher AOV, which is an average order value, which is higher in size, and they can bear national level logistics. They have primarily taken the D2C route of expanding, and of course, then only it makes sense for them to spend heavily on performance marketing. So it's a mix and match for the set of brands that we currently have in the D2C ecosystem, 800 brands that we have, and of course, ever growing, because there are roughly another 5.5 lakh other sellers registered on marketplaces. So, it's a mix and match. It's a batch wise, is what category you're selling, what product line you have, and the conversion is usually higher at the initial stage. Ideally, because you need to create the awareness for your product line. Once people come and buy back your products, you have a better retention of your customers, better reviews, better ratings. That is when you start seeing some lower cost in terms of your performance marketing spends. That is basically my take of understanding of working with the set of brands that we have.
Cool, yeah. Punit, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I mean, since we operate, I mean, we work with a variety of brands, and the way we see it is that, I mean, and ourselves, we are a B2B. I mean, we only target the B2B companies. So we see there is a very clear, I mean, very clear delineation between where we get the traffic from and where we see the conversion, right? So, like you guys mentioned, I mean, you get a lot of hits from, let's say, Instagram. While so in our case, so what happens is that we might get a lot of traffic, for example, from Facebook, but the conversion is very low on Facebook. But if we post on, I mean, if we do some activity on LinkedIn, this metric reverses. So just wanted to post this back to you guys and kind of get your thoughts on. I mean, one is where do you get the traffic from, where you get the eyeballs, and then where do you see the conversion coming from? Do you see any trends there? Uh, so would like to kind of understand from that angle.
All right.
Pradeep, you want to take
So,
it?
Sure, sure. So, yeah, for us, I think both brand awareness, brand building, as well as kind of purchase conversion still happens from the same channel. And that's the risk you run as a business, that, are you over dependent on a particular channel and so on and so forth, for which we do a bunch of things these days, right? But like, I think I think a lot of product-led growth experts talk about this. You can either say, I'm going to create my own channel, forget where the user is, or you say, hey, you have to go where the user is, build that out, and then maybe in the future you can build something out there, right? So we still feel it's about going to where the user is, and our consumers are still on Instagram. And then you build that out from there. That still continues to be our biggest conversion driver, as well as brand awareness driver. At Zouk. And I think that still holds true for a lot of brands. I know some brands that do a lot of product education on YouTube, and then kind of have Instagram push and all of that. But again, very hard to say how much of that brand awareness that was created over there through product education led to conversion, and which one was just click through conversion, which one was just view through conversions, and so on and so forth. You can do a lot of funky mathematics around it, right? But at the end of the day, I'm a strong believer that if you keep things very simple, figure out one of your hero channels and just keep growing over there, that's the only way a business can scale. And that's what is kind of key. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah. So sorry, Puneet, can you just repeat the question, and then I'll have a clear.
Yeah, sure, Sahil. So we were just chatting about essentially one is the in the source for traffic. You might get a lot of traffic, for example, from one particular channel like Facebook. But when it comes to conversion, do you see any variance in terms of conversion coming from one channel and then traffic coming from another channel? Because we see that a lot in our business, where when we try to target brands like yourself. I mean, a lot of them might come to us via Facebook, but the quality of traffic and the quality of conversion we see a lot more happening when let's say somebody comes from LinkedIn. So just wanted to kind of understand your take. Do you also see this kind of thing happening to your business, your marketing channels?
Uh, Yeah. So So like Punit said, we do find that as a challenge, right? We cannot pinpoint that what is happening on Instagram is that the 100% result of what is happening on our website. There is a lot of traffic diversion for sure, which is there. But what I do believe in that we focused on very few channels from in the first 2 3 years of that. We focused a lot on Instagram initially, and we stayed on Instagram for really long. We started LinkedIn like 6 months back, and are still slow on it. I do believe that once you find one channel which is working for you, you stick to that, and that there is going to be fulfilled. Like I said initially, I'm pretty sure that we had a lot of people who came and found us on Instagram and went and bought the product on Amazon purely because of the delivery timeline, right? Rather than going to our website. Although we would have wanted them to buy products from our website, right? And those channels were there. So I'm pretty sure that there is a certain fallout.
Okay, great. Thanks, Pradeep, Sahil, Nikunj. So, pandemic basically uh, just made e-commerce very competitive, and it's increasingly becoming competitive. And in order to sustain and grow, it's imperative that you provide your customers a very seamless buying experience, whether it's through Instagram or through your D2C web store or through Amazon, right? My question for all of you is, how can businesses ensure that they provide their customers a seamless buying experience, and how crucial do you think is a user friendly interface on your website for the same?
So should I go first?
Yeah, please, Sahil.
So I think so. What the pandemic did is, it gave us a real growth which was unexpected, right, online. And I think so. The efficiencies of businesses are still kicking in terms of cost and ad cost, etc. over there, right? And in terms of even small stuff like packaging, being delivery, etc. For product is still something that we are learning about, right? But there is one thing for sure that the pandemic has given, that it has given us a real boost in terms of direct to consumer, that this business is there to stay, and we are still trying to figure out certain uh, parts of it which we need to make more.
All right, great. Pradeep, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I always seen the website as like a showroom, right? It's just a showroom with, like, say, a lot of cameras, and you can measure a lot of, what the user is doing inside the showroom, right? And uh, I think uh, some people come to the website just to check out this brand that they've heard, right? They might not purchase at that point. Some come to see the products, and then, like Sahil said, they might say, "Oh, I like the product, but let me check if delivery is faster on Amazon." Or, I think in our case, for example, not just delivery, but also things like, am I going to get a better price over there? Am I getting some offers on my HDFC card or whatever, right? So they go to a marketplace and maybe purchase there. But at the end of the day, they're coming to the showroom. Like, think of it this way, that the experience still needs to be great. It's not just about from the showroom, what all do you get? You get to know what this brand is, right? You get to know what products they sell. You get to know where is the crowd, right? I mean, what is the best seller, what is not, what is new launches, etc. You also get to see the offers, etc. So I think the website is a very similar part, right? So having a very user friendly website is great. I think with of course, players like Amazon have really, set the benchmark for ensuring, you make really come in, check out fast, move out kind of a thing. Similar to that, even Shopify has done that. So our website is based on Shopify. So a lot of the experiences are still very common. And I think just like what Amazon has done to e-commerce, Shopify is still going to do the same. So today, across different brands who are all there on Shopify, your add to cart to checkout is a very similar process, right? You have screen 1, screen 2, you choose your shipping, screen 3, choose your payment gateway and make the payment, right? So I think that part is again not much one can do, and of course unless of course you're on like an advanced Shopify plan. But I think at a high level, if I look at a website, I've seen that typically brands end up doing the following. The homepage is all about talking about the brand, what does the brand stand for, a little bit more of the brand story, and then talking high level about the categories. The collection pages shows you the breadth width of the collection itself, like what is it that you have in terms of selection there, and then the in-depth product pages will describe the product in detail and say, I know you're at your home in front of your laptop. You don't want to go to a shop now, so I'm going to do the best way possible to describe things to you and tell you what. Maybe in a shop you're only going to overhear, sneak into saying what the other person on the side is talking about the product. Here you get reviews, ratings, everything, right? So I think at the end of the day, it's a very similar experience. It's just all of this can be measured. You can say, okay, if 10,000 people came to my website, how many people went to collection page, how many people went to product page, and then to the conversion stage. So very critical. I mean, of course, outside of this, even having a user-friendly website does throw some SEO markers for Google, right? It's a very key marker for them. That is your page speed great? Are people bouncing too often or not, and so on and so forth. Those are ranking thirds, which indirectly help more people to come in. Again, similar mall, you go in, if there's too much rush, you might not want to go in, but then if it's an empty store, you'll be like, maybe nobody wants to buy from there, right? So I think it's very similar in that experience. So I think at the end of the day, you just need to give a great experience on the website, and there's no two ways about it.
Correct, absolutely. Nikunj, what's your take? I mean, you've been into performance-based marketing since long, I guess, and I think you would be the best person here on the panel to basically talk about
I'll break it down to two parts. One is before the pandemic and after the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I remember talking to clients, talking to big brands, right? And you telling them to sell online, build a website, and they were like, no, they're really, really happy doing their offline business. They actually did not even consider online as even a business sale, like a channel of sale. Then the pandemic happened, and post that we see a huge rush of D2C companies coming into the sectors, like being in different categories and just growing up and onwards. Now what has happened is, all your marketing, all your developments that you do is all connected to a very common channel which I call logistics. How near you can get your customer, like how closer you are to your customer. You can have a stock point, like I believe Butternut, as one of our initial brands that we worked with, we implied a strategy before the pandemic came in. We made sure that our products are available not in one clusters, but at least all the possible clusters of the platform. Okay, so what did that do? A, it allowed the consumers to reach the product in less than 24 hours. So tick mark on your experience. Two, we built up on the ratings and reviews. Today, you have a website and you have an Amazon as a channel. Now, when you weigh two channels, on these two channels, what is the most credible thing that you can actually get in is a customer review. On my website, there's always a customer thinking, oh, you know what, it can be fake. But on Amazon, it is not possible. The review is a clean marker determining your position, your branding, and everything, that how good the brand is. So over a point of time before the pandemic, the importance of reviews was not as much as what going now. The value of reviews, the importance of logistics, and based on these two ideologies, you have something called as what Pradeep said, like a gallery, the content, the photo shoot, the product placement is the first thing a consumer goes on a site when it sees. And if that's not right, you can spend thousands of dollars and still not get the right result. So it's a combination of logistics, it's a combination of reviews and ratings, and your overall presentation of the product on the platform, which has allowed this post-pandemic era to give such a surge to this new age brand, because they understand those important factors to weigh in. And that's why now you'll see that even marketplaces like Nika has started something called the A plus content, which was not earlier available. It was available only on Amazon. Flipkart is now doing a very small pilot with their systems. So you see these developments are being caught, and Amazon's always been a front runner. And because it's a pure process related company, you can't influence the system. It's a process driven, and that's what has allowed, because after the pandemic we all got into a process, right? We all sit at home, get up, work, and get done. So we all in a process, and eventually it's all going to become like that. So my take on this whole front with the pandemic thing is that, developing your infrastructure and logistics and getting your brand closer to your consumer with fantastic reviews is going to be the key game changer, how you're able to acquire consumers every now and then, and measuring it with your return customer ratio. That is what my take would be on this part.
Great. I guess, I mean, user-friendly website is one thing, and then user-friendly buying experience that includes logistics and everything, infrastructure to basically take care of all that is very crucial. So continuing on the same line, I really want to understand, how COVID really impacted the businesses, Pradeep, Sahil, and what measures exactly did you have to put in place to basically combat the issues, and what the learning has been through the process.
Sure. COVID has been a roller coaster, no doubt. We operate in the non-essential space, which means wave 1, 2, 3 months was just waiting it out, right? We knew we'd come back strong, but it was a wait, right? And I think what it did was, instead of worrying about the day to day, what's numbers today, what's numbers yesterday, how much are we spending, etc., we got some. You can say we got some. Like the summer vacation in school, right, to recharge and kind of think about more broader aspects of the business. And I'm glad we got that break, though, to be honest, because after that it's been a really steep growth curve for us. That's good on that. But it's been very unfortunate. The good thing was, firstly, I think as a company we decided to kind of prioritize employee welfare, and kind of said we shut all operations, nobody needs to come and all of that. So I think that was good. After that, it's been a very steep kind of growth curve, learning curve for every member of the company, right? Um, I think what it fundamentally did, at least from a marketing standpoint, was this, right? On just awareness side, and on the platforms where we build awareness, which is Instagram, Facebook, Google, YouTubes of the world, is just people have just started spending more time online, right? Which means there are just a lot more billboards available for advertisers to advertise on, right? So that means some people took it as an opportunity, saying that I don't mind spending more to kind of get more growth. So that was great from a awareness opportunity to build awareness point of view. But then, like they say in online, it's just easier to start a business, which is why it gets very tough as well to run a business, because suddenly you had increasing number of billboards, but then 10x 20x more people trying to bid for those impressions, which means everybody, I think, saw a CPM jump, and so on and so forth. And then you have your kind of funnels to measure each and everything on that part, which is like impressions, how are your click-through rates going, and what's happening down the funnel. So great for awareness building, because more people were online, but then more advertisers meant a little bit more fun in all our lives. Great for conversion as well, because now people are like, hey, I want to buy online, I can't go outside. Over a period of time, people are like, why should I even go outside to buy this when I can comfortably buy from home? So that's great down the funnel as well. So yeah, and I think this is going to continue for a good period of time now. I'm not going to write off offline yet. I think there's still offline still is a bulk, and I'm sure there's going to be some innovation that will happen there as well. Right now, it's like I say, it's a wave, will come and then will go. Brands that survive through it and really build strong moats, like Nikunj said, strong reviews helps improve organic ranks. Strong brand creation that will do, like for example, I saw butternut being featured by Amazon Launchpad, right, recently. I mean, really great work, Sahil, on that, right? So building that brand awareness, that will continue. And I saw the same, right, products have 2000 plus reviews, etc. Sahil, so congratulations to you and your team on that. That's going to sustain for the future. So that's what it's done to our space now. Let's see how long the wave rides, right? But till then, those who survive will survive and thrive as well.
Great. I think e-commerce is here to stay. It's not going anywhere soon. Sahil, what's your take?
Thanks, Pradeep, for the kind words. So, similar to what Pradeep said, what happened initially was we were gourmet food related, so we didn't have to wait for as long as 2-3 months. But there was a good month where we had to wait over there. Uh, what happened initially was really exciting for us because it gave us a lot of brand awareness because non-essentials were not marketing. So there was no one else on Instagram. Suddenly, on all our PPCs, everything were great ratios and everything was at 10, 12, 15x of our spends. And we were like, we've cracked this. We know how to do this online business now. Till like a few months later, we were like, oh, now this has gone down. And then so it became a roller coaster where we kept on learning. The first wave had its own stuff going on. The second wave again brought more learnings to it. Overall, what I thought was again, you had a huge opportunity for creating brand awareness and brand presence, and that's what I think, young brands want first, right? They want to at least create their brand awareness, and that's what COVID did for us. Right? We got more people to know about us, etc. Our followers went up, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever it is, right? And I think so. This will have a lasting effect, one on consumer behavior for purchase, and it will also trickle down some at some level to offline. Now the flip side of this was all the giants have also come into this. So suddenly Kisan has launched peanut butter. Now, Kisan is probably the biggest bread company in India today, right? So we've also seen competition. Now that also there is also to that there is an advantage. They're increasing the pie as the marketing spend goes up, and if you can create good brand value and brand presence, your share in the pie, even if it remains the same, the pie is increasing. If you're not getting more share. I think with larger players coming, there's a great story about Epigamia that Nestle launched Greek yogurt and Epigamia sales went 5x or 6x, right? And I'm seeing a lot of the younger brands who would also see that. So I think so. The changes are to the consumer buying pattern is here to see, and we will see that like few weeks back I read an article where they said that by 2026, online sales will be higher than modern trade, which is a huge number, which is 35% off. This is a big bet to take, right? So I think so. We are going to all the young brands are going to focus online. We're going to stay online to build our brand and hopefully try and trickle into the offline market slowly because, like again, so we said that's where that is a huge part, which is not going out anytime.
Great, thanks, Sahil. Nikunj, Punit, I just want to understand from, so these were the D2C brands, right? So, and we from the service industries aspect, what impact did you guys really, see COVID, post-COVID?
As I said, post COVID, it's a different phenomenon altogether because we handle so many brands across categories, grocery, essentials, non-essentials, and Ayurveda, of course. So I really feel what Pradeep said, that he was a non-essential category, and technically the moment lockdown happened, the marketplaces immediately shuts down the pin code serviceability, right? So you can't sell anymore, which means you have inventory lying in your warehouse and you don't have any sales. So that's a very major challenge. So what I have seen over the point of time through different brands on category wise, they have adopted to the shelf life what they have. So for example, like someone from a food category side, they wanted to make sure that they are not producing more and they're trying to stock only to an extent where they can sell, and they would be going more geographical based targeting. Like for example, through our entire network of systems of sales, they would derive what are the top pin codes. Based on their pin code, they used to stock their products and they used to move their marketing geographically on that region so that they know that the sales move in that particular region. And I have seen brands growing x to 4x, but also at the same time it is not the lockdown, but eventually not being able to you buy products offline. The offline still remains a larger chunk and will remain a larger chunk in India, being such a huge country and in an unorganized manner. Of course, online is the next big thing, no doubt about it. But The consumers were not having any other option, so they had to go online. But if you see, the moment lockdown goes down, online sales will also see a straight dip. And we have seen this median going down with most of the brands. Take it the large set companies, take it large set corporates, take it even product categories which were dealing. So we deal with a couple of large scale manufacturers who deals in masks. So the moment lockdown happens, their sales grow up to almost 30x. And the moment the sale goes down, and the sale, the moment lockdown goes up, your sales are going down. So we started following the trend, what's happening in US and UK. Based on that, we started stocking in India, and we actually did that for the lockdown too. We did at least 5x on what we were actually doing without doing anything. So it's a pattern that we're able to study. So post COVID has been a different experience for different brands. For example, someone in Ayurveda category, they have seen some phenomenal sales. Someone in the apparels category or the home category, sales have not been that great. On a certain front, the moment just before lockdown, we have seen some phenomenal jump. So it is the awareness that we have created for the brand over the point of time the lockdown, the reviews that we have built. At the same time, what is your selection range also that matters, right? Just because you have a product does not mean it's going to sell. You need to have the right product, the right price point for the customer to buy. So that's a common parameter, online, offline, take it anywhere. So that was my take after COVID-19. Like it changed completely for a lot of brands, how they market, how they strategize, how they stock, how they implement their entire scale point and their viewpoint in the entire business ecosystem.
Punit, what's your take?
Yeah. So, I think so. I think from our side, being a service provider, I mean, we have seen two kinds of trends overall happening. One is obviously the brands, when there are a lot of D2C brands in every single category which are coming up. And obviously, other than that, like Nikunj was basically talking about, a lot of existing traditional brands are trying to jump in this and trying to capitalize on the demand that is being generated online. And there was a study recently that basically talked about in the next few years, we are talking about e-commerce taking over modern trade as a sales channel. And that is phenomenal. I mean, modern trade was supposed to be the next big thing, and we are already talking about overtaking that. So that's big, and we are talking about almost 8 to 10 times jump in the overall market size for globally. And this is not just India. I mean, globally, we are talking about 8 to 10 times jump in the potential sale in via e-commerce, and that is big. And I think a lot of that has been facilitated probably because of what Jio did in India by making internet available to all of us. But one challenge I continue to see and I keep wondering, and I would like to pose that back to you all, where I mean, essentially, I see. I mean, one advantage to basically visit a store and like Pradeep was talking about, the website is like a showroom. So when you go to a real showroom, one advantage you basically get is that you are able to interact with people and kind of do an assisted shopping, right? Especially for a new brand like yourself, Pradeep. I mean, do you feel that as a challenge being online where people? I mean, very few people. I mean, comparatively speaking, know about the brand, and I mean, what measures do you take to kind of make them comfortable in, let's say, buying from you? And especially from a D2C side. I mean, Amazon, we can still imagine because Amazon is behind that. But really, your direct channel, um, uh, have you done anything in that direction to make people comfortable?
Sure, sure. No, so interestingly enough, Punit, when we started, we actually started as a exhibitions heavy model, in the sense the year one we did 50 plus exhibitions. That's where we really saw what the customer looks in the bag, right? What are they looking, what features they like, what they don't like, discovered pricing, etc. And then kind of learned a lot of things there. So no doubt about it. I think uh, talking to that shopkeeper or the person who's showing you the products, ye kaise hai, wo kaise hai, looking at all of that is definitely there. So there are definite advantages of offline as a seller, right? No doubt about it. But then on the flip side, you just can be a lot more inventory efficient, right? Which means you can be a lot more better in terms of pricing. You get a lot more data on what's working, what's not working. Like today, I can launch a product with just five units of inventory, right? And probably EasyEcom is the first place that gets to know how much inventory I have, right? Right? 5 units, I'm launching a product. Impossible for me to do in a shop, right? I need to be able to show so much more, right? And I think that's where the advantages kick in. So if I have to take that dangerous leap of saying 5 years down the line what will happen, because I think we all don't know what's going to happen 5 months down the line, right? But still, if I were to take that 5 years down the line lens, I think online can be a great channel to discover if a new product can be launched and does that work or not or move. And then you can really turbocharge the sales by saying, okay, now let's make more of those and put it in all the offline stores that work really well for us, which was not possible when it was an offline heavy model, right? So those are the advantages of just being online. So there's no doubt that that buying experience is going to be a gap that's there. How much ever people talk about video commerce, social commerce, AR, VR, I think the touch and feel is still important, right? So that's not going to go away for a brand like ours, right? But again, if from a brand introduction perspective, Purit, the way we see it is, for me to now create brand awareness, I've just turned a fixed cost into a variable cost, in the sense that I now don't need to buy those large billboards, newspaper ads, or even that expensive billboard inside a mall where traffic is coming to introduce Zouk to them. Right, I can still convert it into a variable cost element and literally start off by saying, 5,000 rupees, start off, run some ads and see what happens. Can you get some people to go on your website? That is big for like many of us. Like, I come from a middle class family. If I go and take a loan, first thing is like so much pressure is going to be, array, what are you going to do? Fixed cost itna hai, etc. Variable cost, I think we breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief there. So I think that's what is the advantage, even for a brand like ours, which has not been existent much, now trying to kind of break through the clutter a bit, and we have a long way to go. So we're still a young brand, but that's how I look at it.
Great, cool. So, I mean, talking about marketing, right? I mean, what is marketing without conversions and revenue, right? So, I mean, I would want to understand from Sahil first. Sahil, how do you basically measure your campaigns for a better ROI in addition to, return on ad spend, which is ROS as we popularly call it? And I mean, is there any other measure? I mean, what other measures or what other metrics do you measure to basically have better ROIs over your spend or entire marketing strategies? I think we have a lag. Pradeep, would you like to take that question?
Sure. I think in our case, I like to keep things simple, to be honest. So we don't do a lot of mathematical jugglery there. We still look at it as a funnel, right? We look at it channel-wise funnel. We depend on data that each of these channels provides. So Instagram provides a particular sales figure in terms of attribution, etc. So we're still very early in that phase. But high level, what I would say is, brands need to measure ROI on their ads at a distribution channel level. So basically, what you spend on performance marketing on say Instagram, Facebook, how much of it is resulting in website sales. Similarly, what you spend on Amazon, how much of that is resulting in sales on Amazon, and similarly on other platforms. That's how we look at it. Very tough to say you showed an ad, people came to your website, checked out the product, liked it, then went to Amazon, searched there and bought there. How do you kind of attribute that? Currently, we are not doing that. I think there will come a time when we'll want to do that. That's probably a white space for a product company. Punit, I think you have the team to kind of build that if you want, right? As a gap over there. But that's how we look at it, Swati. And we keep experimenting. One thing we do is to say that we don't run. We know that our ads are pushing people to a particular channel, right? So that is very clear. So at least from an objective linking to an ROI to what's happening in that funnel is much more clearer at the moment.
Thanks, Pradeep. Sahil, what's your opinion here?
Sorry, can you? I lost internet and I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Can you?
you're perfectly fine audible now. Please continue.
Can I get the question again because I missed the
All right,
question?
sure. So I was basically asking about, how do you measure all the marketing strategies and activities to have a better ROI? And if there are any matrix other than ROS and others that you measure to basically keep your marketing activities aligned with your conversions and revenue.
So see the easiest thing is to do it online, right? You know, and you can do a ballpark ROI on your spends. It is we did through the lockdown learn better metrics to kind of figure out because offline was shut. So for those 6 months we kind of figured out what sectors are working better for us, like in online where the marketplaces and what are the spends to returns compared to our own website. Because initially during the lockdown in the first phase, even Amazon was not on for us, right? So we got a very clear, not we can't say a very clear picture, but we got certain numbers on it. Overall, I think so. It's very hard to put down the exact ROI what each sector can provide you with. But I think so. We look at it from we are very clear on our spend. I think so. Online has helped us keep our like what Pradeep said. Keep your fixed cost low. Your risk are have reduced a lot more. It gives you that flexibility, and I think so. We are all about improving efficiencies, right? As humans, anything that improves our efficiency, we get pushed towards that, and I think so. That's what online has done for us as brands also, right? That we can try something on Flipkart with saying, okay, we'll spend 2,000 rupees and divert consumers to Flipkart to see what sales we get compared to Amazon, compared to our own website, right? And we can come to know what is the consumer preference between the three platforms that the consumer wants to purchase from. So those things have kind of helped us with the online marketing available, and it's it's we don't look at offline marketing, and I don't think so. We look at offline marketing at least for the next 3 to 4 years, because with online we can at least have some key metrics to measure, whereas in offline that is a big task.
Great. Yeah, of course. I mean, things are more measurable while talking about an online channel versus an offline channel. Offline is, I think, still majorly pray and spray kind of for most of the D2C brands at least, right? Nikunj, what has been your observations?
We have been on complete opposite side because we are the one who are running the ads for these brands, right? So it is not just one brand that we're running an ad set for on a particular system, but there are multiple categories that you're running ads. And your goal, what is your goal as a first objective when any particular campaign is going out? Is it a strong ROI that you want? Is it the awareness that you want to create? Because if you're a new product, you can't expect a higher ROI. You need to have people know you. People need to come back to you and buy you out, right? So we had certain brands where we had to just simply spend to create an awareness level. And now from an ROS of 2, we have reached an ROS of 5. Now for certain brand, like for example the brands like which are in the grocery category, we have to be very careful in terms of our spends because the margins are thin eventually. The logistics costs are high, so we have a very fixed mandate that we can spend, but we can only spend to a certain extent. So our learnings develop through over a point of time through different channels. Like we usually measure on a totality of sales that you're generating on the ads that you're running. So certain analysis on specifically on Amazon, where you can see the cost is high, okay, but your ROS is still better. It's because a lot of consumers come see your product, but they not buy you out. They put you on add to cart and then eventually buy at a certain other time. So you have created an impression, you have created a recall value, and post that you have done a purchase. So that is one way what we have seen in marketplaces. And I think the Amazon marketing system is a different world by itself. They've started now DSPs where you can save your own property. You can start marketing on the homepage and you can spend more. So, it's all about how much you want to spend create a brand recall value, and of course at a point of time focus on getting a better conversion through creating that volume. Online is a volumes game, it's not a margin game, right? You have to generate as much volume as possible to create that positive impact. And this is something that I've seen across our career of onboarding more than 2000 brands into our ecosystem. This is a very common parameter that we have to move through the entire volumes game. And similarly, when it comes to Instagram and running ads on the Facebook front, where it is more interest led for our certain brands that we are working with, it is completely different. It is quite dynamic, and learnings are over a point of time. Again, the proportion of evaluating on the Facebook, the Instagram part is again same thing as what Sahil and Pradeep said earlier. They check out the ad, they might not buy it, they might go on Amazon and buy it, and then they eventually go here and buy it. So I usually take a calculation of the total sales against the total ads that they've been spending, and that's a much better parameter. But it's great for established brands. But of course, for new age brands, your acquisition cost is going to be high. Like taking beauty today, it's a very high acquisition cost business where we have been doing. We have grocery with a low acquisition cost. We have mask with much lower acquisition cost. And in fact, mask you can't even promote on Facebook and Instagram. You can only promote them on Amazon. So a lot of mask manufacturers have now moved to Amazon as their primary sale chain, wherein if they sell one product online is equivalent to 6 products being sold offline. They're ready to spend that much amount of money. So these are the key insights that we have learned, and based on different categories, the goal is very important. What is the goal that you want? Is it the higher brand awareness? Is it a higher ROI? Is it the profitability that you're looking at? It is the benchmark that it allows us to develop and create a media plan. So it's different for different brands, and of course over a point of time we have also learned through a lot of mistakes that this is not what we need to do, this is how we need to do. And by hiring the right set of team, it's an 80-20 ratio that we have developed over a point of time.
Great, thanks, Nikunj. All right, we have a question here on a similar grounds. As we are a new age e-commerce marketing, do you think investing in marketplace like Pinterest will be a future opportunity scale? Nikunj?
Hi Avinash, thank you for your question. Yes, I think Pinterest nowadays have been a great discoverability. In fact, yesterday I was thinking to buy some decor myself, and I couldn't get any ideas. It's a fantastic platform where you can promote your products, designs. There's no cost to it. So I would say yes, Avinash, it's a fantastic way. It's a great opportunity to develop and invest in new age marketplaces like Pinterest. I personally do that. If I was in, like, if I have to buy something, if I want to do interiors and all, I think Pinterest is just amazing. I think I have tried it and I got some great results out of that. Sahil would know it. Sahil comes from a similar industry. You must be knowing how the interiors work. So I think that has got completely relevant to what Pinterest is doing. They've just got it so simplified. So yes, Avinash, I would say yes. We would. It's a great opportunity to invest in marketplaces like Pinterest and all.
Great, thanks, Nikunj. So moving on, as you just mentioned, so e-commerce, it is no longer a very festive season oriented business. I mean, there were times, I think pre-COVID, you think about e-commerce, it was only the festive season that e-commerce is going to give your business a boost, but it never hurts to prepare ahead of the festive season. I want to ask Pradeep and Sahil, both of you, what plans do you have ahead of this festive season? How are you preparing your brand, and what special, I would say, branding activities or marketing strategies do you have in pipeline?
Should I go first?
Yeah, please.
So for us, festive season in terms of grocery has been huge always, right? We basically make products out of nuts and value-added products of dry fruits. We take from on our website, like Pradeep was saying, sometimes your website is like your showroom. We've kind of also sell dry fruits over there as products because it's part of our purchase. So similarly, Diwali, Ganesh Chaturthi, all this become huge for us as festivals. It also gives us a lot of opportunity to get new consumers. So we'll be trying to do a lot more things around these festivals. Getting inquiries for the long term is also something that we look at, like B2B businesses. So for example, we would run ads for gift boxes, etc. Uh, during this time, so that our inquiries come in for Diwali, for our large orders that can be placed a month before, etc. With the corporates. We generally have a two-step plan around, starting from July mid is when all the festival season starts up to February, right? And these are great ways online at least to keep because people also need to see something new on Instagram and your social media handles to keep them also there.
Great. Pradeep, would you like to? Sahil, there is still some gap. I think there's a
Oh,
connectivity issue.
sorry.
We were able to hear you, but I think there were a bit of breaks in between. Pradeep, what special do you have ahead of festive season in plan?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're also planning it out. I think two parts. One is we are going to be piggybacking on a lot of the marketplaces now that are going to be coming out with their sale and all of that. Right? So Amazon will come out with something, from Myntra will come out, etc. Flipkart will actually have its sale as well. So I think that will be the first place where they're going to be driving all the traffic, and we are going to then kind of that is going to give us an indirect boost as well. Right? So I think that is the first place we're looking at. Second, on our own website, we've always seen good demand because it's a good gifting season. Companies also want to do corporate gifting, for which we make bags for them, etc. Right? People buy it for meeting relatives, etc. I think travel as a space is opening up as well, so people are going out, so people are more happier now, or looking forward to carrying their new bags, right, at this stage as well. So I think all of that is going to be big drivers for us, and that's what we are going to be capitalizing on. And the team is working hard on that, and yeah, so I think we'll then start that off from October onwards. So
Great. Nikunj, what do you have in pipeline for your customers?
Diwali for us already started, yeah, because the moment the August sale, the Prime Day gets over, the marketplaces already starts planning in what they want to do in Diwali. So we get our targets, we know what needs to be done. So there are 4 to 5 factors that which is a median to all the things that we need to do in Diwali. One is identifying the top sellers that you already have in the platform, that you already know which are doing well. Ensure that they are very well stocked. Most important, if you need to know what is selling well, it has to be sold, it has to be in place, right? So number one, most important, get all your top sellers in stock. Number two, get all your products in the right clusters. You exactly know the marketplaces, as well as through your website, you know which pin code or which geography is developing with what kind of orders and what kind of products. So create an inventory plan specifically now, so that you know which products to stock at what location and when. And three, don't wait for Diwali, because if Diwali is on the 4th of November, your Amazon sale or your sale is going to happen somewhere in the 3rd or the 4th week of October, which means you would not get any more appointments by the 1st week of October. So you technically have only 1 month from now to plan out the entire series of Diwali, right? So get your marketing team in place to get all the listings corrected. Whatever listings you have, getting your SEO right, getting the filtration done on the back end in terms of your images, getting the videos up and running, making it look attractive. And it's a fantastic time to launch new products. So if you're planning to launch any new products, build up a good rapport in terms of your social media. You have to divert some traffic out there from social media to your platforms to enable them to know new products have been launched. So these are the 3 to 4 key parameters that would really drive a lot of sales during a festive season. And if these things have been done before time, I think 30 to 40% incremental growth we have seen for most of the brands in the last 3 to 4 years across categories during the Diwali. Of course, post Diwali is a different thing, but before that, getting them corrected now, so that you don't want to wait for last minute rush. Get things done, get a top sellers in place, and start selling them online.
Great. Punit, what is it that you want to add to this? Given you work with all the industry marketplaces, and you know the inside stories, I would say. What is your take? How should how should brands prepare ahead of the festive season?
So, I mean, we have been part of multiple of these seasons. I mean, it happens every year, and we have seen almost, depending on the brand that you are running, you might see anywhere from 3 to 4 times jump in the overall sales. So that means, I mean, preparing your operations team, preparing your inventory, like Nikunj was mentioning, making sure that you have enough inventory so you don't run out of stock. um, Make sure you have enough staff to do the packing, because one of the biggest problems that happens is that you got those 1,000 orders, but there is nobody to pack, and then what do you do, right? So making sure you have good staff in place and trained staff, and maybe if you need to have some temporary staff that you want to bring in just few days before the peak season, so you make sure you basically have all those kinds of arrangements in place. Then I guess from our perspective as a service provider, we also have to make sure that our systems are stable, up and running, and they're able to handle the kind of 4 or 5 times uh, load that we normally see around the Diwali time. So, I mean, from our side also, I guess we've been preparing and basically upgrading the servers and whatever it takes to basically get ready for that.
Great. Thanks, Punit. So, moving ahead, e-commerce outburst since last year has basically made this a very level playing field. So, basically, anybody with a vision, with a very customer-centric approach, and a good product, I think can basically now have a product, have a brand, and just succeed. I mean, and but to have that, your entire approach needs to be very customer centric. My question now is, if you guys have already tried personalization, if you have, what has your observations been? What is your understanding? What is your learning? Who wants to take that first? Nikunj?
Yeah, I don't mind. Different brands, different approach. Customer remains the same. The customer is the king. He needs to be happy, come what may. So I'll give a small instance that we tried personalization with a beverage brand very recently. Right before the Rakhi, we ran a specific campaign on cred. Now people know cred as a very small community, right? But it's a very right community for right product. So first is identifying, is it the right platform where you're doing that kind of a personalization. So we identified that, we did that mix, we did our research, and we realized that Cred is a fantastic platform for doing that homework. So we did that. We ran a small campaign around Rakhi, wherein we had a mix of beverages. It's a non-alcoholic cocktail mixers. All right, something very new in the market, but it does really well because we made a nice hamper right before Raksha Bandhan, and we ran a campaign like a Raksha Bandhan campaign. We gave the best thing what all customers like, a discount. We gave a fantastic discount, and in a day we roughly moved 1000 units. That's roughly 4000 bottles between 2 crore customers. So what we realize is that trying to market your product with the right customer approach is very important. Now if you're trying to create because I'm a service provider, I'm not a person who's running a brand, right? Sahil and Pradeep are someone who are running a brand, and they know how their customers talk to them, and what we get is most of the reviews, and we handle most of the negative reviews as well, right? So we have to be very very critical about how they say, and what it is very important is that you have to make them happy. We try to create different personalization approach, like Butternut does specific packaging for your consumers, right? So if you want to give your name on a peanut butter, I think Sahil does that. Sahil, I think nobody else in the industry has been able to crack that. So that is one great thing, that how we're able to touch base to your consumer. So that is one area. There's certain other consumers, what they do something very basic. Give a nice coupon code, go back to the site, and come back and buy it. These are traditional ways, but the modern ways, you need to know where your audience is. You need to hit them, because there's so many options nowadays that why would someone come back to you? I mean, and this is as a service provider and not as someone running a brand. A customer wants to know that what is in it for me, that I'm going to come back to you and buy the same product. One is taste, of course, no doubt about it. But what is second most part is like you need to touch the consumer, right? You need to feel it. So that is something that we have realized with so many different sets, of course, the usage and everything. But getting the right personalization with the right category and a right market is important. So that is what I have, witnessed in this specific personalized campaigns.
Great, thanks, Nikunj. Sahil, over to you. I think there's this one difference. You just said that Kisan basically also launched an almond butter. I think the customer-centric approach that you have versus a Kisan, I mean, though they have their distribution all sorted out, I think the customer centricity is going to overtake everything else moving forward. Uh,
Yeah, so I think like personalization is something that we young companies need to look at very seriously from the tech front of view, right? Why do I use Amazon? Amazon knows what I want to come and buy. Why do I use Swiggy again? Because they know what kind of restaurants I purchase from, right? Can we do that on our websites? Can I know the days, in what he bought in January? When does he finish my jar of peanut butter? When does he want his next peanut butter? You know, can all these things in terms of there's a lot of personalization which can go on your website, etc. Like these are things already large players like Amazon are doing. Right? What I can sell to a consumer with what are the tag along products that he might buy. Is that a female coming back to me? When do the females come? What time do they buy on? So I can run product campaigns around that. The personalization stuff that we've done is more towards what Nikunj said, is more towards brand building, right? Which I do believe in. There is direct spend, what we've spoken about a lot. We've not spoken about indirect spend. Right? Indirect spend is building a brand, making it cool, making it stand out. Making it kind of something that you want. I'm not getting the term, sorry, but let me say it's aspirational, right? That was the word I was looking for. You make it aspirational, so that will come under the brand building, brand equity building. Points. I think personalization going forward will be a lot into your websites, right? So can I gift my sister on Rakhi saying Happy Rakhi on a jar with her name? Can that happen? Cadbury does it today. Cadbury does that through Diwali. Cadbury does that through Ganesh Chaturthi. So I think so. We have, like I said earlier on, that online efficiencies have still not reached at that level. So the cost is very high to get all of this implemented from a startup's point of view. But I think so over time we will get there, and that's where personalization will move to.
Great, thanks, Sahil. So I think let's take up quickly the last question. We are way beyond the time and schedule for this session. Parting thoughts. I mean, what are the basic key strategies or activities that any D2C brand that is basically planning to thrive and succeed, needs to take into account for growth? I mean, and I want everybody to maybe just take quick 2 minutes and talk about the strategies and tactics that brands need to take forward.
Sure. So I think first, I think we spoke extensively about product. We spoke extensively about distribution. We spoke about ads, etc. I think customer is important. I think the biggest one is the brand. It takes a lot of time, effort, very hard to measure ROI, etc. On how what you're doing on the brand side. How is it working for you, not working for you? But brand is the ultimate mode, right? I mean, today also, even in the panel, when we have to think of a marketplace name, we say Amazon first, right? Because it's like many of the products are commonly there across multiple other platforms as well, right? But then we pick that. So brand is going to be the biggest one. Focus on that. Never dilute the brand. Never shy away from. I mean, Nikunj is very lucky that he gets to see negative feedback. That's literally where a lot of customer pain points come out of, right? We can sit feeling happy about the daily PNL report that comes, or we could go through the negative feedback. So Dish and I, we spend at least an hour a week going through all those negative feedbacks with our customer experience team. That's where we get our learning. So I think that's what I would say. Focus on building the brand. Negative feedback is great to kind of understand customer pain points.
Great, thanks, Pradeep. Sahil.
I'll speak from an grocery FMCG sector. I think so. There is a large gap that the large MNCs have left in terms of clean products right now, whether it's clean skincare, clean food products, etc. Because for years, what has been built for long shelf life products, etc. So if someone can focus on just giving out real products over the next 5 years. I think so. There is a gap over there. Like Pradeep said, focus on brand building. There is nothing more important. Your customer builds your brand. You don't. And as you keep on focusing on your customer, the brand automatically keeps on growing and you keep on improving it. Right. And you have to target, the third point would be target aspirational customers, because they will then trickle it down to the market. There has been no brand built, I don't think so, till date that I can think of, which started as mass and then became a brand. Every brand that we use, whether it's Ola, Amazon, Flipkart, uh, Nokia, Nike, they've all been aspirational to us as at some point in life, and then they have become part of our life on a daily basis. So I think so. These three points.
Great. Thanks, Sahil. Over to you, Nikunj.
Well, as a sir, I would come across from our experience of building all the D2C brand over a point of time. The most common factor is your customer. Most important, getting the customer back to you to buy the product. You can only fool somebody once. That's what I've learned in the industry, that by giving a wrong product out. So most important thing, get the customer, but also build a trust with him. The trust factor is something which is going to build a brand. As it takes a lifetime to build a brand, right? So that's number one. Number two, focus on getting your logistics right and getting the cost in control, because a lot of times higher volumetric would result in such a heavy cost that we don't realize that it's going to eat up your profits. So all the D2C brands doing online, offline, need to make sure that how they're able to calculate the volumetric weight of the product. That is number two, which I would say the most important factor. And three, advertising it correctly. I think there is nothing more accurate than advertising your customers, advertising your money to the right set of customers. So getting these three mixed, putting out together, you can create a platform. But then scaling it again is again how your consumers are reacting, how innovative your products are, and how functional they are over a point of time. So that would be my three topics on this.
Thanks, Nikunj. Punit, do you have something to add to this? Quickly, I would want to move to the question and answer round. We are really way beyond 1 hour now.
So, I mean, I would like to just add maybe 2 points. So essentially, I mean, every 8 to 10 years, I think every industry goes through a disruption, no matter which industry you are in, whether consumer products, software, or whatever. So I think e-commerce has paved the way for essentially disrupting these. I mean, consumer space. Essentially, the time cycles will probably reduce, and we'll probably see disruption every 5 years versus 8 to 10 years. Because now, like Sahil was talking about, it does not take that long to essentially build and distribute a brand to end consumers. So I think that's what is probably going to drive it, and it's going to create an opportunity for all of us, whether as a brand or a direct service provider. I think it's a good opportunity to be here. It just, I mean, market them well, build a brand, and go out there and sell. So that will be my message essentially.
Thanks, Puneet. I think it's absolutely, I think it's a great time to build a brand and start selling. All right, over to the questions. So I think we have certain few very relevant questions. This question is asked by Vinay. For an e-commerce brand, what's the fastest and most cost-effective way to scale the D2C strategy globally? How should a new age brand go about it? Who would want to take that?
I'll take that.
Sure.
Very good question. First and the most important part is what category is it? Because the moment you want to scale globally, the most important thing is going to be compliances. And number two, your supply chain. So if it's a grocery category, then your shelf life is going to be a challenge, where you need to make sure that the product has been stocked, shipped, and sent across the last mile in a proper manner. So we recently scaled up a category in copper bottles. So what we simply did, we made sure that the product is sent across the fast sellers via air. We made sure that they're selling well. We did the right spend, and the next consignment we send it via ship. Let's say the high amount of time, but less logistics cost. Taking a overall way to it is to identify which are the right products. A, having a functional value. Number two. Number three, lower and a compact volumetric weight, so that the packaging is correct and you do not have a shelf life, so that will not you can't get the products back, right? Once it's there, it's there. That is being seen. So like your giants like Vadam Tea and all, they're roughly doing a great set of numbers there, right? So they also started in a similar fashion. a brand like Skillmatics, who are basically Indian grown brand, but they are majorly selling in the international market, basically in US. So you have to identify the right mix of it, and create a channel wherein you are selling these products in a compact way. So that would help you to grow your D2C strategy, on a global level, and of course, adding your social media to it, with targeting the right categories, the right channel on those geographies. So if by mixing that together, you can successfully build up a D2C brand. Again, building up is going to take a while. It's not going to be done in 2 days. It's a system. Sending goods from here to US itself is going to take 45 days. So there's nothing quick, there's nothing short. Everything takes its own time. It's a pyramid. It's you have to go through the process. So that would be my my viewpoint on that.
Thanks, Nikunj. All right, the last question we have is, Punit already answered this question, but I'll still take it. Is it recommended for D2C brands to build an on-premise e-commerce infrastructure or use a cloud-based platform? Punit, this is, I think, for you.
Right. So I mean, I always believe in essentially go and buy as much as you can while you're in the growth phase. So buy as much as you can rather than trying to build something, and on premise anything is built. So you don't. I mean, you want to focus on building the brand, not the infrastructure, and leave that part to someone like us to basically take care of.
Cool, yeah, thanks. I think this is a cool session. Thanks everybody for joining. And I hope for all the attendees, this was insightful and eventful. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swati and Puneet.
Thank you, and sorry for the
Sunny,
trouble.
thanks, Swati. Thanks, Sahil. Thanks, Pradeep. Thanks, everyone.
Style will always have a next time. No, don't worry. All right. Have a good evening, you guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.